So this week is week number 4. And this is the use of the sacred tarot. And again, I'd like to remind everyone to please keep your microphone muted unless you have the floor. When you have the floor, then you can unmute your mic and we can carry on from that point. And thank you, Vega, for the always wonderful opening and closing. All right, so we're going to start off real quick with the icebreaker today. There will be 4 rooms available. And during this time, I'm going to ask for you to choose any one of the breakout rooms that you want to choose. If you want to take this time to go and visit one of the other breakout rooms and to see how much more awesome your group is than theirs, you can feel free to do that. Or if you want to go to your own, in case somebody want to visit there, you can feel free to do that as well. The topic of the breakout room this time is actually going to be whatever it is that you want to talk about. Whatever it is that, you know, the class, whatever it is that floats your boat, I'm just going to say, just make sure that you enjoy this breakout room, because we got something going on after the breakout room. So at this time, I'm going to open all of the rooms, and you should have an option to choose which breakout room that you are going to go to. Okay, so again, welcome to another week of this class. And as I say, we're pretty much getting to the midpoint of the class. So I hope that everyone enjoyed the icebreaker and got a chance to go into a different room or the same room or listen to some different people or talk to some different people. Relax you out a little bit, because next what we have is, drum roll, we got a mid-course pop quiz today. And so the fire signs are Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. The earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. The air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And the water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. The first question is going for the fire signs. And this could be anybody out of the group. Only one person speak at a time. And we'll try to go through these as quick as we can. It's a few questions. And so if one person out of your group, if you want to add something to the answer, you know, then we may be able to do that, you know, but just the important part is one person speaking at a time. And somebody, since we don't have everyone on here who is fire, water, earth, and all of that, I'm gonna ask for someone to volunteer so we don't have a lot of dead space here. All right, so let's go back. The fire sign, the first question is, what is the table of correspondence? Anybody from the fire group? What is the table of correspondence? Come on, it's fire now. I know somebody's supposed to have been jumped out there and volunteered out of fire.
Aurelio, I'm a Capricorn, but I was just in the fire group, and I'll go ahead and say what it is.
Okay, no, hold on, because we got something for everybody.
Oh, okay.
If don't nobody answer it, then I'm gonna assume that nobody from fire knows the answer.
Well, we just talked about it, so they should know.
I think, isn't it the one that has the Hebrew letters? It's the chart that has the Hebrew letters to start out. It tells the English letter, the Hebrew letter, the sign, I believe, and the Arcanum. Then it tells, the last column tells some keywords about it. I believe that's the table of correspondence.
That's perfect. That's perfect. That's what the table of correspondence is. The table of correspondence is pretty much the first table that you're going to run into inside of the book. Course 6, the Sacred Tale, and the table of correspondence pretty much gives you 7 things that are associated with the cards. It gives you the Hebrew letter. It gives you the glyphs. It gives you the name for the card. It gives you the English letter. It gives you the gem or the mineral and so forth. But that's what the table of correspondence is. And because the table of correspondence is at the very beginning, before you get into any of the lessons, I think it was placed there strategically because this is one of the most important parts that you're going to run into. Thank you. Good job, Ray J.
Woohoo!
All right. Now we up for Earth. And the question for Earth is explain space and time. Based off of what we've been over, explain space and time. Anybody from Earth? Earth gonna be a little slower than Fire, and Fire was a little bit slow until Ray J came up there. So, anybody from Earth, explain space and time. How does space and time work with the astral realm, with the physical realm, and so forth? Anybody from Earth? Nobody from Earth? So I can confidently say that nobody from Earth knows the answer and just give the answer. Okay.
Well, I could probably say something about it, but this is a very deep question here. And it's kind of hard to get the focus down to just how do you want the explanation for space and time in relationship to the tarot. And space and time create three-dimensional life.
Okay. All right. That is definitely a good answer. So in space and time, what we spoke about was time on an astral plane has a different order than time has on a physical plane. On space, how we move in space has a different methodology on a physical plane than it does on an astral plane. On the physical plane, we pretty much just gravitate. Everything is dictated and directed by gravity. On the astral plane, Zane teaches us that forms levitate as well as gravitate. You can go up, you can go down, you can go all around, and it's all controlled by vibration, vibratory rate. Whatever your vibratory rate is, that's how you travel. Time, the faster that we go, then the more time slows down. And so in the physical world, time is of essence. Everything is pretty much up under the dictates of time. But once you cross the boundary line and you're in the astral world, astral realm, then you go across. You can view the whole world line of any entity or any object, and you can look behind the now point in the timeline, or you can look ahead of the now point in the timeline. That's space and time. Damon, you got a question? Oh, okay. I thought I seen your hand up. Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to answer the question, but it's been answered in much better detail than I would have been able to answer it for.
No, yours would have been better. Okay.
Thank you for your modesty.
We'll get you on the next one.
Okay.
Okay. So air signs. All right, I want you to talk about what we've been through in the course and about contacting invisible entities, invisible help. What did we go over? What did we discuss in dealing with contacting invisible help?
Okay.
Mediumship? Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, do you want to take it?
No, Candace start, and then Teresa can come after you.
Okay.
Okay, so you want to do your best to do intellectual ESP, which is where you go and find the answers yourself, and you want to make sure you're contacting the correct vibratory rate by being in a code, like a state that is neutral but wants the answers and wants to know the truth more than anything else, so you can have a clear answer. And you also want to be able to test what you get from any help that you get on the astral plane. That's
Great job. Great job. Great job. All right. Thanks. Thank you, Candace. Teresa, you want to add something?
I just was going to start out and saying that according to ZZ saying that a mediumship is not recommended. Feeling ESP and intellectual ESP. I talk about that a lot now.
Okay. Hey, that's
Because
good.
I get it. All right, and that was all I was going to say.
Oh, that's a
But
lot.
yeah, but Candace had a lot more to say, which was good. Yeah.
It all equals the whole.
I've been
Okay.
oh.
Go ahead, Candace.
I was just gonna say I've been chatting about it with Meg too much, so.
Okay, so and also to help you out, just remember the story that I told about the example about a person that grew up in the church and learned how to pray and all of that stuff, and whatever happened, they end up going down the wrong path or the wrong course, and they didn't stop praying. So when they was going out to do things of a lower vibration, they were still praying before they went to do it. I think an example I gave somebody robbing a bank or something like that, and and how they had prayed to make sure that the getaway car worked, and to make sure that they don't go to the teller that got the dye pack in there, and to make sure that they don't get hurt, or that nobody get hurt, but if somebody get hurt, that it ain't them. And they was praying before they went to do it. And that was the whole thing with about the contact and invisible help. You send those thoughts out there, it's based off the vibratory rate of the thought that's going to determine what entities on the astral plane that you will be dealing with in those thoughts. And so, of course, when we think about the deity, the all from which all things come and from which our spirits emanate, we're not thinking of a lower vibration such as bank robbers or nothing like that. And so when you go into it with that type of vibration, you just have to be cognizant of what your vibration is, because that's going to have a big part on who it is that you communicating with. Your vibration is going to put you on a playing field. It's going to put you in a particular area of the store, if you will. Damien, you got a question? Oh, okay. Oh, he's still up. Okay. I got it for you. All right. So number 4, this is for our water. Now, describe the phrase "innocence is no protection."
Okay, good. So just because you didn't intend to pull something down doesn't mean that you're going to be protected from the consequences of it.
Great answer. Great answer. Can you give us an example?
Going with your, well, no, bank robber isn't quite innocent. If you go into a reading wanting an answer and not caring from whom you get the answer, the entity that provides the answer may be giving you the answer they need you to hear so that you do what they want you to do instead of what you really need to do.
That's good. That's a real good example. That's a real good example. And also, like, in modern times, like, you on the internet, you browsing on a website, ordering some shoes or something, and you make a mistake and click on one of those pop-up links, and then when you click up on one of those pop-up links, it's then sent a virus to your computer and everything, and now your whole bank account is ordering from Wendy's. Every time you turn up your bank account ordering from Wendy's, you ain't never put no Wendy's order in. But yeah, that's another way to look at it. But great assessment and good understanding of that, Rodney. All right. Now, number 5. And this is for any other element, anybody from any other elements. What is mediumship?
Mediumship is allowing the control of other entities to take control of you and allow them to transmit that information the way they want it transmitted.
Right. All right. Thank you, Ray J. Can we get somebody else on what is mediumship? Don't be shy, because then I'm going to just start calling people.
It's letting someone else drive your car.
Hey, I like that one. That was 100% correct. Say that one more time.
It's letting someone else drive your car.
Exactly. 100%. Anybody else got anything to add to mediumship? Good job, Brian.
Just because they're dead doesn't make them smart or wise.
That's another good notation. That's another good notation. Don't make them any wiser than you. All right.
I'd like to bring in an example of something. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Teresa.
Oh, okay. I used to do mediumship years ago.
Okay.
And this comes with innocence. Innocence is no protection.
Mm-hmm.
It was a natural thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I realized that not only was the entities using me, other people were using me at the same time. So that's that innocence with no protection.
Right.
And of course, and it took me a long time and a lot of mentors to help me to break out of that. And it wasn't until I went to Gettysburg and I lost a tooth because a soldier got shot in the face. And so, and then after that, I said, oh my God, I don't want to do this anymore, and then it stopped. But then I realized as I started getting into angelic work and things like that, I realized that that I was actually letting them in, but I didn't know to close portals either. And it took me almost years to realize that when I would hear a voice in the back of my head that would say, F you and stuff like that. And so it was kind of like, I realized that when you were talking about mediumship really isn't the right way to go. I agree with that now after experiencing all the weirdness of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
So as a light worker or as a therapist, when people come to me and have those problems, I actually tell them, I help them to move out of that type of energy now because of the experiences.
Thank you for sharing that, Teresa. And yeah, Zane gave the admonition uh about mediumship and it definitely being one that's discouraged. We only really promote the intellectual ESP, but mediumship can be one of the most harmful. Even though in the past, Zane explains that it's been a lot of great spiritual work at the sacrifice of mediums, but it, at the beginning of fire was a lot of sacrifice also, but now we just want to use it to cook our food and to stay warm. Yeah. All
Like,
right, so
can I add something to that?
yes,
Isn't it more feeling based?
Could I add something to that, Aurelio?
yes, you may.
So I really appreciate Teresa's sharing of her experience because she demonstrates in that experience something, that that Zane speaks about in terms of the cycle of necessity is that, the soul is on a journey of progressive evolution. And so by the time you come to this human form, our soul, our astral body, we've put in a lot of effort to, create this form and holding it together and continuing to have it progress. So every time that you allow because it's a passive thing to allow something to come in and take you over. So in the beginning, this is what I've seen with channelers, in my day anyway. And also I saw it with my aunt who was a kind of a famous psychic in her day, and it did not end well for her. And basically, every time in the beginning you let these things in, and like the gentleman said, you let someone else drive your car. Well, after a while, they are breaking down lines of force that you have built over centuries, millions of years in every form, getting progressively more complex. And now you're allowing something else to come in and input its own structure in there. So it's breaking your structure. And at some point, you lose control. You no longer will have control. It's like those things will come in whenever they damn well please. And you've lost the game. It's very hard to come back from that. So good for you. I applaud you for recognizing that, that this was not a good thing and that you took steps to, turn that vibration around and close those doors. So good for you.
Right. Thank you a lot for sharing that, Deborah. Okay. So now this is for our water signs. What is filling ESP? Now, I know I didn't just say something about feelings and the water signs went mute on me now. What is filling ESP?
I mean, isn't it more feeling based, hypersensitivity based, receivership compared to intellectual ESP is more electrical based. Is that something close?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anybody else from water want to add to that? Okay, so Michael is 100% correct on that. When you use filling ESP, it involves the hypersensitivity, where you pretty much become a set and you picking up everything, to whereas when you use intellectual ESP, it does not involve hyper sensitivity. And so you using more so of the the particular vibratory rate of your thinking and of your thoughts, whereas so you control who it is that you contact or what it is that you contact or what it is that you look at, whereas with filling ESP, you don't really control that particular vibratory rate. You like a magnet. And so you're going to pick up anything that's close to that vibration that you're on at that particular time. And what you pick up, it may be something that you want. It may be something that you don't want, but it'll be more draining on you. And you place yourself in a more vulnerable position than if you use an intellectual ESP. But I heard Christopher Gibson and say he uses feeling ESP a lot or whatever. But what the Church of Light suggests is that you cultivate intellectual ESP as much as you can.
Well, it's been my experience that as I've tried to pay more attention and develop that intellectual side, that I have had also to learn how to to feel my boundaries, around the feeling ESP, because draining, the word that you use, draining, is exactly how it felt. It didn't feel good, but I did like what I gained from it, the knowledge part, but I'm learning how to change to get the same results, only intellectually and not so much feeling wise. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, 100%. I believe Zane gave the example of in comparison between feeling ESP and intellectual ESP. Intellectual ESP is like watching the TV with the mute button on. You can see everything that's there, but you're not going to be affected by the noise. All right, so number 7, and this should be an easy one right here because we went over it. It's for air signs. What is intellectual ESP? Give me somebody new. Air signs, what is intellectual ESP?
Well, it's where in the process of, accessing the information, you keep the object of interest, the object being examined, or the area of the astral plane that you're investigating, at a distance from yourself, for lack of a better word, to where, you perceive it and are able to be consciously aware of it through your extra senses, but you're not actually in contact with it. It's like when you look at a bird, you see it and you're able to analyze it and make assessments about it, but you don't have to grab the bird and try to possess it to do that. So in intellectual ESP, you're keeping that sort of distance and using your faculties to examine it.
I think that's a great answer right there. Thank you, Brian.
Aurelio, quick question. And could that be because I consider myself learning to be, like more of a spiritual scientist, that the intellectual ESP is the goal is to be neutral, observer, and objective. That's
100%.
like
100%.
like that. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
I can add some. Isn't it more, I know I answered the last one, but intellectual ESP is more so where your energy, electrical energy radiates out, right? Radiates to high frequency.
Yeah.
And the thing about feeling ESP, you're filling out other entities, other objects which radiate energy out. So like intellectual is more so your energy through breath work, whatever techniques you use to increase that electrical energy within the nervous system.
Right. Yeah, you 100%, 100% right. And I've used through the course, and that's why I think it's so important in learning the usage of the tarot at the beginning, because at the beginning that's where that's where you're more prone to fall into those different methodologies, because you simply just don't know. I've been through the period to where probably started off on the mediumship thing because I just get the cards and I just zone out, and whoever want me, come take me, you know what I'm saying? Just give me some answers, or something like that, and then I got to the point to where I'm like, okay, if I'm doing readings for somebody, I'm just going to allow my all of my feelings, all of my emotions and all of that to kind of merge with theirs, and then do the reading and get what they want, but then they are in control of it, so it's their subconscious that's using the EPP and all of that instead of yours. And then once beginning to cultivate the intellectual ESP, like Michael said, is you're projecting instead of or instead of just being receptive. You're receptive in terms of receiving the information, but you're projecting, you're directing where you're looking at, how close you're getting to it, and exactly what off of that table you're gonna pick up and grab. But yeah,
Aurelio,
yes,
can I give my own personal example of how I experience feeling ESP and intellectual ESP differently?
sure you can.
Thank you. So when I do a healing or I do any kind of work, which this is not with the Church of Light stuff, but if I go to sleep the night before and I put the intention to get all the information I need and everything I need before that, the healing goes really smoothly, and I don't need like recovery time or anything. And if I forget to do that, I basically have to cancel the healing because it's just not going to work.
I think that's what you just described, the difference between intellectual ESP and feeling ESP. So whereas the feeling ESP would be if you just go into it, and just trusting, I'm just gonna trust the universe, and anybody that want to come and grab me and take me and help me deal with this, let's do it. So yeah, I think you gave a wonderful example on that, because the night before, that's the deliberate intent. And so with intellectual ESP, you have more control over your deliberate intent. Feeling ESP, you can have a deliberate intent as well, but intellectual ESP is perspective based. Okay, so now fire. What is EPP? This is an easy one. Now I know fire, and somebody better help Ray J out. Fires. What is EPP? Come on, fire. Come on, fire. I know somebody know what EPP is. If not, then we're gonna learn today.
Okay, I'll try then.
Hold on, let's see a
Oh,
one
okay,
more
okay.
fire person, because I don't even know if it's any more. Is it any more fire people on here?
Yeah.
Any fire? Okay, well, since nobody else in fire know, outside of Ray J, and I'll let you come and clean it up if we got to. But is there
I don't know
anybody?
about all that cleaning up.
Is there anyone else who haven't spoken yet who can answer the question, what is EPP? Nobody, huh?
Does it stand for extra physical power?
Extra physical power. Yeah, who is that right there?
Eric.
Oh, yeah. Good job, Eric. That's
Thank you.
exactly what it is. Extra physical power. Yeah. And in the process, now Ray J, let's get through. We got 22 of these. Okay. Earth. This is for Earth. How many realms does Earth man, meaning man or woman, live in? In other words, how many realms is anybody that's on this chat? Anybody that's on this chat right now, how many realms do they live?
2.
2. All right, can you name them?
Inner plane. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Okay. All right, so number 10. This is for the air signs. Does more velocity give more mass, or does more velocity give less mass? And to give you just a clue, is the example that I gave about the bullet.
It's less mass.
More velocity. Remember, velocity is speed.
Speed.
Higher velocity, more mass.
Higher velocity, more mass. Exactly. Because the example was the bullet being real small, real tiny. And so if somebody's standing in front of you and they throw it at you and it hits you, it's not going to do anything. But if it's projected from a firearm, then the velocity is a whole lot faster than it was when they just threw it at you. And now that little bitty thing has a mass that's greater than yours. That's why it didn't bounce off of you, or it won't bounce off of you like it would if it's thrown at a smaller velocity, because now it's becoming bigger than you. All right. Water signs. What line does 186,173 miles per hour represent? Or what is at that? What line is at that speed?
You want me to answer that?
Light.
Water sign.
It's the line that separates the two realms.
That's true. That's true.
The boundary line.
Exactly. The boundary line.
Right? Speed of light.
Yep, the speed of light. The boundary line the boundary line is at the speed of light, and the boundary line is what separates the two realms, the physical from the astral. Good job. Fire signs. Explain the world line and now point. I think we just touched on that earlier also. Explain
Okay. Hello. So the world line is, can we say, the eternal line, the line of antiquity of time, and the now point is the present time that we're in along the parallel.
Right. Exactly. Anybody want to add anything to that? Which she gave it to us. Okay, exactly. The world line, everything in existence, everything that you see on the physical plane has a world line. And the world line is before the beginning and after the ending, or the beginning and the ending of a particular thing. It consists of the present, which is the now point, before the present, which is the past, and after the present, which is the potential future. And with this world line, anything that's before the now point cannot be changed. You can go and look at it, you can view it, you can get all of the information from it, but it can't be changed. Anything that's after the now point is subject to be changed, because if the conditions change or other factors come into play, then that particular future may be altered. And so the future is always perspective based. This is what the future looks like according to the present now point. But if the now point changes, then the potential future can change. That's going to be important when you get to looking at some of your predictions might not come when you think they should. Number 13, this is for the earth signs. Explain the tarot table chart. You should have fun with this one. Explain the tarot table chart. The tarot table chart is the chart that we went over last week.
I'll give it a try.
All right, come on, Robert.
So the table chart, the tower table chart is the breakdown of the major arcana and all the minor arcana and their correspondences between what 1 and 9. And it's sort of like a tool you can use to get sort of a quick reference when you are trying to interpret a card.
Great job, Robert. Great job, Robert. That's exactly what it is. It's the chart that we was using. And there's some more questions to go along with that, so I'll let Robert's statement stand. This is for the air. Explain the major arcana. Come on, my air people. Somebody explain the major arcana. And you ain't gotta, you don't have to give a perfect word for word verbatim explanation. Just explain the major arcana from what you learned so far in this class. Explain the major arcana.
I see them as the ones with the Roman numerals.
Okay. All right. Wait. Can't say that you're wrong about that. You definitely right about that.
Go ahead.
I see them as the planets. They're like archetypal representatives of the planets and the signs.
Okay. All right.
And,
Well, yeah.
And of the bigger things happening that are out of your control.
What do you mean, like that's out of your control?
Well, I mean, like universal energy coming from the cosmos versus the minors are your mundane tasks. The majors are your giant tasks.
That's interesting. Okay, thank you, Heather.
Aren't they also like the journey? Like, don't they all tell a story together as well?
They do. They do, and that's gonna be one of the questions that's coming up. I'm gonna keep my eye on you when that question come up.
No.
Just gonna start picking people. But no, you are all you're correct. So the major arcana, and just to simplify it, and you will get into this when we go over to the history of the tarot and so forth. But the royal path, you know, these 22 paths, this is the major arcana. And the major arcana represents all 12 signs and 10 planets or luminaries. And that's where you get your 22 from. And everything else falls up under those right there. All right. Fire, this is for fire. Explain the court arcana. What is the court arcana?
Should that be for water?
Huh?
I thought that was gonna be water's question.
No, it says fire. F-I-R-E. Fire.
I think I know the. Okay, so the court arcana are the kings, the queens, the youths, and the horsemen.
Great job. Great job. Because
you go, Nancy.
Maybe I give me a minute to reflect on the horsemen, but they represent personalities that reflect back to astrological significance.
Boom. Bingo. Bingo. You got it all the way down where no explanation is needed. You 100% right. The 12, the king, the queen, all of these represents the people, you know, and these are your 12 astrological signs. But the horsemen they are what represents the thoughts of that particular element, those
Okay.
elements. 100% correct. Good job. All right, Earth, explain the tens. Explain the tens. Come on, Earth. Let me see. Let me see what we got. Where your people at, Robert?
Tens represent change.
Oh, there we go. Okay, Eric. Got you. Got you. You, Eric, you remember what planet is associated with 10?
Oh,
Huh?
I don't.
Uranus. Uranus. That's the in the major arcana, that's what we call the wheel. You know, Uranus. And that's the nature of Uranus. Uranus is actually awesome. Uranus is sudden changes, you know, and things of that nature. And so when you look at all of your tens, you know, your tens either gonna have something to do with some alternate changes because Uranus is unexpected and it rules electricity, you know. And before that key on that kite or whatever, however the story went, you know, that's extremely try doing some electrical work and touching two things that don't supposed to touch together. You'll see how instantaneous and sudden changes Uranus is, you know. But yeah, Uranus is sudden changes. So in your tens, you're gonna see alternate changes in finance. You're gonna see inventions or discoveries. Remember this about Uranus too. Uranus rules inventions and everything. Go back and look at your famous people, your people that ushered in life-changing things. Most of them that had a very strong Aquarian or very strong Uranian aspect inside of their chart if it wasn't a sun sign or something. But you're 100% right there. Okay, this is for the air signs. Explain the horseman. We just that right there, we just gave that to y'all. But come on, explain.
The horsemen are thoughts because the fastest thing that travels are thoughts.
Okay, all right, okay. And you gave us a little different take on it with the same right answer. That was good. I like that. I like that. Thank you. All right, this is water. This is water. What are the suits and their elements? Name the suits and the elements. This tarot, y'all. Name the suits and the elements. Of course, and I don't think I need to say this, but of course, it's according to the Egyptian tarot deck that we use in the Church of Light. Name the suit and the element.
Would that be like scepters is fire? Is that what you
Yes.
mean? And then
Yes,
the
ma'am.
cups are water, and the coins are air, and the swords are earth.
100% correct. 100% correct. All right, this is for your fire signs. Explain the yes or no spread.
The yes or no spread is 5 cards. They're dealt from right to left.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
They're dealt from right to left, and 3 is the now. I forgot which way is future, but I do know that each card gets 1 point, except the middle card, which is the third card, which gets 2 points if it's whatever. It gets 2 points.
Whatever way. Exactly.
Yeah, and you can tell whether it's yes or no by if it's reversed, it means no. If it's face up, not upside down, it means yes. And then you add up all the points. But I forgot which way. I forgot which one is present, which is distant past, and I forgot. But
Anybody from fire want to help her out?
Heather does.
Okay,
Oh.
go ahead, go for it. You got the floor, Jill. Or is that Heather?
I was trying to clean up supper with my kids. What did Jill volunteer me for? I'd be more than happy to do it.
Yumi knows too.
What?
I
Oh, the
was
answer
going
that's on the
to give a
Which
wild
one?
guess.
In the yes or no spread, what part is representing the future?
Oh, I
So
didn't know that.
is the
Double-
right the future and the left the past? I think.
The future is the fourth card over. So it goes from right to left, right? So the fourth card over is the future.
That's right. Great job. Great
Sorry,
job.
I had to get up for a second. Sorry.
I seen Ray J over there. Those was flashes to seeing you doing famous spreads in the future. Call me now. But yeah, she was right. So the yes or no spreads, it doesn't have to, it's a odd number. That's the big thing, is that you have an odd number of cards, and that you when you in the process of shuffling and everything, that you turn some of the decks around so all of the cards aren't facing the same direction. It could be a 3-card spread, it could be a 5-card spread, it could be a 7, it could be a 9. Whatever it is, that center card always represents 2 points. You know, whether it's reversed, whether it's upright, it always represents 2 points. So great job there. All right, this is for Earth. And it's number 20. Explain the Magic 7 spread. Explain the Magic 7 spread. That's the one we worked on last week.
I can try to give it a shot.
Go ahead, Robert.
All right, so it's 7 cards. The first one starts in the center, and then the second and third flow at the bottom, left and right, right and left, and then the fourth and fifth is the top 2, and then there's a 7th card at the bottom. Each card represents a planet, and it gives you sort of a sequence of events in relationship to your inquiry.
Okay. All right. Now we taking anybody, great shot at it. Now we're taking anybody that want to help Robert or add anything to what Robert gave.
Doesn't it have to do with the different seals of Solomon as well?
Mm-hmm. Okay. It definitely was used there. Anybody else?
For the 7 positions, you've got past, present, future, ability to control, environment, opposition, and outcome.
Right. Exactly. And so with the magic Magic 7 spread, the thing you want to all you got to do is just remember is this right here. You know, it's the interlocking trines, the interlocking triangles, or what later became to be called the Star of David, but it predated that, you know, but it's the interlocking trines. And the thing about that is it's significant in the symbolism that represents the Church of Light, because you have the one triangle or pyramid going up, and the one triangle or pyramid that's going down. And at each one of these, now remember, on that star is only 6 points to the star. You know, the 7th one is in the center of it. That's where your 7th card is at, and that's what's ruling the result. And yes, true. Each point on there represents a planet, you know, and you have 7 of your primary planets that you begin to deal with where we get our days of the week from. So um, each one of these positions represents the past. Well, each one of the positions are represented by either the past, the present, the close future dealing with the situation, the people that's supporting you or that's supporting the favorable people that's around there, the environment of that situation, what's opposed to that particular situation, and the result.
Aurelio, I have a
Yes.
question. So,
Mhm.
with the yes and no spread, obviously you want to phrase your question in a yes or no manner. For the magic 7 spread, is there a particular composition of the question that works better? Or is it just a free for all?
Well, I mean, you could use the magic 7 spread for a yes or no answer. You can ask a yes or no answer with the magic 7 spread. Um, for me, that's one of my favorite spreads just because I just use it so much, and it's good for space if you don't have a lot of space that you're working with or something like that. And it gives you a great deal of information, you know. But when you're doing the yes and no spreads and all of that, if you read the cards from the beginning, you know, on the right side to the present, in the middle to the future, past the middle on the left side, it'll give you a lot of information, you know. But I think ultimately the spreads, I think they kind of just people connect with the different spreads in different ways. Hey, Vega.
So I say what surrounds that issue, Candace, when I do a magic 7 spread, what surrounds whatever issue you're asking.
Yeah. And then like if I'm doing this, sometimes I use that spread to kind of get me warm, you know. If I'm doing a spread for somebody or whatever, and I'm just doing a quick thing is, okay, what's this person overall energy, which is what Vega said, what surrounds it. But what is this person overall energy, you know?
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Good question. 21. This is for the air signs. How do you shuffle and cut the cards? Now, if y'all don't get this one,
I can answer that.
okay, come on.
3, you shuffle 3 times, you cut 3 times, and you do the whole process 3 times.
Okay. All right.
From right to left.
Also, isn't there an aspect where you're supposed to make it like your own? So then it's like almost like a secret handshake between like you and the ether?
No, I mean, no, not really. Not really. The big what makes it your own is when you stick with the process.
Okay.
When you continue the process and keep doing it the same way, that's what's gonna make it your own. That's how the commune takes place between your unconscious mind and your conscious mind. Okay, number
Hello?
8. Oh, go ahead.
Hello?
Go
I
ahead.
was wondering about the shuffling. Is there any particular way, I've seen them just like turn one of the piles, the 3 piles upside down and then combine them again, or does it matter that you do it that way or that you do, just wondering.
Great question. Great question. So, what Zane recommends is that at some period while you're shuffling, that you turn one of the piles that you cut in a different direction, and the purpose for that is so when you do your readings, you can have cards that's face upwards and cards that's reversed. If you don't turn them over, then you're not gonna have any reverse cards. They are gonna be going in the same direction.
Okay, thank you.
Hey,
Did that
William.
answer your question?
Yes, I was also thinking, you know, once you're shuffling them, if you do not turn them over on the pile, if you just turn a section of them over as you're shuffling, but it's probably more it's probably easier probably to just turn over a pile when it's laying flat. So, but
Right,
just
and
curious.
then right, and then and here's another thing too. You know, and some people ask, do you grab the sides of the cards when you merge them together? Do you grab them from the front? How do you do it? And again, that's a matter of personal preference. The deck that we use in the Church of Light is a deck that fits in your hand easily, you know, but you have other decks, you know, that may be larger, you know, that may be smaller and so forth, you know. So it's just a matter of, you know, sticking to the process that works best for you with the tools that you're working with.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, number 22. And it says for water signs, but I'm going to put this out for everybody. What is the synthesis of magic?
It's the fool's journey.
One person at a, it's for everybody, but only one person at a time.
The mantra of the Arcana, the 22 Arcana.
Okay. All right. Good.
Is
Anybody
that the
else?
mantra of the wheel?
Okay.
Aurelio, I have it pulled up, but I don't want to just read it off.
What you got?
I have the whole mantra pulled up on my phone, so if you want me to read it out, I will.
Oh, you talking about for the synthesis of magic?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, go right ahead.
Okay. The human will, enlightened by science and manifested by action, creates the realization of the power which it uses or abuses according to the good or bad inspiration in the circle which has been traced for it by the law of universal order. After having surmounted the trials which has been imposed by divine wisdom, he will enter by his victory into possession of the work it has created and established his equilibrium upon the axis of prudence. He will rule the
Oscillations.
Huh?
Oscillation.
Oscillations of fortune. The force of man sanctified by the sacrifice, which is the voluntary offer of himself upon the altar of devotion or aspiration, triumphs over death. This divine transformation raises him beyond the tomb into the serene religion of infinite progression and opposes the reality of initiative to the eternal falsehood of fatality. The course of time is marked by ruins, but beyond every ruin one sees reappear the dawn of hope or the twilight of deception. Thank you. Hang on one second. Unceasingly man inspires to that which ever flees from him, the sun of happiness. The will. Sorry, I'm a little nervous.
No, you're doing excellent. You're doing excellent. Seriously, you're doing excellent.
Okay, thank you. Will only rise for him beyond the tomb after the renewal of his being by death, which opens him to a higher sphere of will, intelligence, and action. Every will that lets itself be governed by the instincts of the flesh abdicates its liberty and is bound to ex I don't know,
Expiation.
expiation of its error. On the contrary, every will which unites itself to deity in order to manifest the truth and work justice enters even in this life into participation of divine power over beings and things, recompense eternal of the free spirits.
Great job. Great job. Great job. Great job. I
Thank you,
appreciate
guys.
that a whole. Hey, listen, let me tell you. The first now I've been reading that over 20 years. So and when I tell you that you did a great job, you did a marvelous job because the thing about the teachings by Zane is, remember, he was a Sagittarius, so his verbiage is way on a whole another realm. So you got to get used to the language, you know. When I first started reading that, man, I think I couldn't get through the whole thing. I had to keep picking the dictionary up. Okay, let me see what this is. Let me see how to pronounce this. What is this? You know, it was time and time again, and it wasn't until I probably got maybe about 3 or 4 books in or something like that that it just clicked, and now I was familiar with it, and it just took on a whole new light, you know. So you did an excellent job in that, and the synthesis to show you how important, especially when we're dealing with the tarot, that the synthesis of magic is. That's actually going to be one of the it's going to be a prize for that at the end of the class, not the class today, but at the end of our course. I'm going to have a surprise for the person that can recite that verbatim. You know, it's going to be a prize for that. You know, that's a good thing. Thank you for reading it. That was a great job. All right, so as I stated, that today was the beginning of the it's the middle part. So we're about to go into the second half of the semester or the course, if you will. And during the second half of the course is pretty much, we may do 15, no more than 20 minutes of talking, but the rest of that time is going to be spent doing spreads. We'll be going into our breakout groups to do the spreads, but even when we come back to the group with everybody in it, you know, somebody from each one of those different elements will be doing the spread until we make sure that everybody has touched the cards. And that's my goal with this class right here, is to make sure that everybody touched the cards. Thank you, Vega. To make sure that everybody touched the cards. You know, that's the ultimate goal that I have here, to make sure that everybody touched the cards. And so from this point on, next week, and that's why it was important to go through those questions today, so I can really see where everybody at. And I know some people probably is a little shy or something like that, you know, but it's important to see where everybody is at. So when we start doing these readings every week, starting next week, you know, I'm gonna need you to come out. If you're in fire, you know, we need people to come out in fire. If you're in earth, air, water, whatever your element is, when it comes to the big group, we're gonna need somebody to come up. That's impressive, Candace. That's impressive. We're gonna need somebody to um come out. One of the most intelligent people, and this is directly speaking to Candace, one of the most intelligent people that I've ever met. And I wondered, this person seemed like they had the best memory in the whole wide world. They was like one of the most intelligent people that I ever met, had those type of conditions, you know. So I mean, literally one of the most intelligent people I ever met. So yeah, so what we're gonna do for the rest, first we're getting out of here at 10 on the nose. We're gonna take a 5-minute break, and then when we come back, y'all going to y'all groups and working on spreads, and then we'll come back to the big group. So that means if we got about 20 minutes left, 5-minute breaks, that give us 15 minutes, so you'll get 10 minutes inside of your group to work on some spreads and deal with your partners. And inside of the group, please make sure the same person is not doing the spread. And if you are the main person that's doing the spread, encourage some of the team members so they'll know that they got that same ability to do the spreads as well. All right, and we going out on 5 right now. Okay, so I don't know if everybody is back yet. One of the spreads to go over this week, last week and this week, with your partners, is the Magic Cross spread. And as you see, the Magic Cross spread is going over from 1 through 5, straight across in a horizontal line, and then 6, 7, skip over to 3, going down to 13 in the vertical line. And I think it was, I'm not sure if it was Heidi or somebody else, but along the course we was talking about reading the spread from the different directions or something like that. And I stated that the spread inside of the spreads, to go exactly like the spreads are, because some spreads read from the left, some spreads read from the right. So the spreads were created with a specific intent, and that's a little different than the methods. And that Magic Cross spread, yeah, it's inside of the book. It's also inside of the handouts. When you look in the handouts, you should have a folder that says spreads, and then you will see all of the spreads inside of there. So at this point, I'm going to open up the breakout rooms and go to the breakout rooms that you usually go to with the element of your sun and work on the spreads. It don't have to be that spread, but let somebody that haven't did a spread yet, if it's anybody in your group that haven't did a spread yet, let them do the spread, and then y'all can walk through it. And if you don't have to try to hold the camera while you're doing it, you can look at it with the camera afterwards if you're able to. If not, then you can just explain to everyone what you see. But I hope that everyone is having a weekly meetings with their partners and to go over those things. So the breakout rooms are now open. Hey, I do want to say, I think everybody did a good job today. I was glad to see that. I was like, man, if we don't get no answers right, then we can't go into the readings. But no, it's about to turn up. So the partners, your partners, utilize your partners. Utilize your partners. If y'all decide to have more meetings, but just get into the habit of doing spreads. Now y'all at the point to where you should do at least one spread a day. Whether it's when you first get up, before you go to sleep, just do one spread a day and put it down in your journal. Even if you don't have time to put it in your journal, at least do one spread a day. Okay, so if there's not any questions, then we'll get ready to close this meeting. Do we have it?
Aurelia?
Uh-huh.
The air signs are being social. So after we close this out, can we keep the meeting open just a little bit longer so we can exchange information and make a midweek group?
Yes, we'll just stop the recording.
Eternal brothers and sisters, we are now about to close the Church of Light meeting in the customary manner, and in doing so, let us consider seriously the kind of life it is fitting a brother or a sister of the light should live. We must each leave this meeting to go about our daily duties. But unless we take with us some higher thought and nobler purpose, we have spent our time here in vain. For knowledge lacking goodness leads to naught but self-undoing. Each brother and sister have pledged to put forth an effort to alleviate physical and mental suffering, to dispel ignorance, and to spread truth. Therefore, even as we would be helped by those of our religion who are more enlightened, let us make every effort to assist others, and let each so conduct himself or herself as to be an example of moral purity, radiating life, light, and love upon the world of their endeavors. As has been custom for eons past, let us arise and face the west, wherein at close of day the solar orb softly sinks to rest and relinquishes his sovereignty to his heavenly consort. And let us bear in mind that even as the orb of night reflects the glory of the sun when darkness should shroud the earth, so should each earnest brother and sister reflect the radiance of our teachings, even amidst the darkness of ignorance, lightening somewhat the most obscure as well as the more luminous path which they are forced to tread. The lunar mother is symbolized in the minds of our ancient brothers and sisters as sustaining nature, upon whose breast we lean and from whom we draw such experiences as nourish and expand our immortal souls. Let us now make the symbol of the religion of the stars. We stand to indicate active volition, with right hand raised to heaven in aspiration to science, wisdom, and power, and left hand pointed to earth, signifying the desire to reflect the divine will and evincing an unconquerable determination to dominate all acts of life by the Spirit. You may lower your hand, and I will pronounce the benediction. O thou, eternal Spirit, in whom we live, move, breathe, and have our being, dismiss us now with thy blessings. And as we travel along our several ways, let ministers of thine guard our footsteps and light our pathway, that we may not stumble into our blindness. From our hearts, we thank those who have assisted in our research. And now, as we depart, we consecrate our efforts to the cause of truth and beneficence. So shall it be.